After all, men love competition, and they're great at driving. Aren't they?
I want women to win, badly. I'm going to really try and win this.
I'm in.
I almost feel it in the pit of my stomach. I just want to be better than everybody else.
The hormone testosterone plays an important part in competitiveness. Testosterone, the so-called male hormone, is actually produced by both men and women. We're analysing our volunteers' hormone levels throughout the competition to see how their testosterone responds.
It seems that men, the kind of biological response to a competition is very different than that in women. In the men, we see large fluctuations, which is consistent with what one expects in response to competition, but we see virtually zero fluctuation in the women. Men are more likely, as a result of this increase in testosterone, to take risks, and risks might, in a competitive encounter, might be beneficial.
The testosterone-powered men quickly take the lead. Lucy in cart 6, the woman who wanted to win, is languishing in 7th place. But right at the very front is Lloyd, hotly pursued by Jamie, driving cart number 8.
But there's an individual who's very much worth pointing out to you, and that is number 2. If we look at his T levels and compare them with his pre-race levels, there's a substantial increase. He's likely to be a very competitive, highly strong individual who takes it very seriously.
I'm more interested in engineering than I am in people. If it came a choice between separating me from my lathe and separating me from Oliver, I would let go of the lathe. But I wouldn't give it up easily. You want me to go first? I can't just secretly let him win like his mum can. I just don't feel it's honest. Right, are you ready? You ready for this?
No.
Jump, jump. To be honest, I don't really feel bad that he's crying. To me, he's just displaying what I would feel if I lost. I'd want to be doing the same thing, really.
How old is he?
6. I'm not a monster.
But monstrous things are happening to Lloyd. Jamie's taken the lead, and he's not showing any signs of giving it back. But as Lloyd tries to regain the lead, his testosterone skyrockets, and things go from bad to worse. Yet more testosterone and more stupid risks. Lloyd's race position is in freefall. As Jamie strolls past the checkered flag, Lloyd's world has disintegrated. The former race leader finishes 5th.
There's an extraordinary finding here where number 2's testosterone levels decline rapidly to nearly that of his pre-race levels, which suggests to me that something unusual is happening. Something's gone wrong here, and I suspect he's not very happy about it.
I feel absolutely enraged, not with anybody else but with myself. 5 minutes ago, when you were up there, I could have gone out, smashed something, hit somebody. That's how I felt. I wouldn't have done, because you can't do that in public. But
I felt good, but I mean, I did actually aim to win. I wasn't going in to, well, I wanted to have a good time, but I wanted to win as well.
Jamie's testosterone levels during the race reveal the secret of his success. While Lloyd's levels went through the roof, Jamie's were much more subtle. allowing him to become more competitive and take informed risks. His modest rises were useful, where Lloyd's were catastrophic. But if we look at the women, there's no rise in testosterone levels at all. There's no doubt that women can be competitive, but they don't have the edge that testosterone can give men.
I am a very competitive person, and I was trying to do my best. I think I just, break, and then when I see somebody in front of me, instead of trying to swerve around them, I hesitate.
The men's rise in testosterone turbocharges their competitive instinct, though it can be a very mixed blessing.
I did. Cheers, big ass.
It's not by chance that women are less prone to road rage.
Just quite bitter, actually.
Testosterone is an incredibly powerful hormone. It affects us all, men and women. And it affects us well before we're even born. For the first few weeks of development, it's impossible to tell if the tiny embryo floating in its amniotic fluid is a boy or a girl. They all appear to be female. But in week 8, the males start to produce testosterone in huge quantities, and their bodies change. And it's recently been discovered that from the very start, they seem to behave differently as well. At just a few hours old, girls prefer to look at a human face, while boys will look at, well, anything really. Barely born, and yet girls like people, and boys like things. Professor Simon Baron-Cohen had a hunch that the differences in behaviour were down to testosterone. He just needed proof.
I was very surprised to discover that hospitals routinely store the amniotic fluid after they carry out an amniocentesis. This was the opportunity that we were looking for. Here was the fluid that, if you like, allowed us to go back in time to make any link between the hormone levels in the womb and the child's current behaviour.
Well, finding the amniocentesis test was tremendously exciting because never before were you able to measure testosterone levels produced by the child and look at later behaviour in relation to that.
Oh, look at that there. Why do you think the big triangle is pushing the little one?
Dunno.
You don't know? Well, all the cartoons are designed to make people think about the two triangles as people. And what we want to look at is whether there's any difference between the ones with high testosterone and low testosterone.
Oh, are they biting?
The kids with high testosterone are more likely to behave in a masculine way than the kids with low testosterone.
The mummy and the baby, and the mummy's pushing the baby out of the thumb so she could watch telly. The baby too noisy.
Yeah, that's great. If the big triangle was a person, what kind of person would it be?
A triangle person.
A triangle person? What about the little triangle? What kind of person would they be?
Yeah, but they're not, because they haven't got any legs.
And we've been able to show that the testosterone levels, week 16 of your life, are related to the eye contact you make, the social relationships you have, the interests you have, how fast you learn to talk. All these things that could be very, very important in the long term for who you are.
Most of us will never have the opportunity to have our amniotic fluid analysed. But there is a scientist whose controversial theory could mean that we can all tell how much testosterone we've been exposed to in the womb right now.
Our fingers have information about how much testosterone, how much estrogen we've been exposed to in the womb. So the longer one's ring finger relative to one's index finger, the more testosterone you've had. And that testosterone has an effect on the brain and on the body. If a boy has a large amount of testosterone before birth, he's likely to be born with a very efficient heart and vascular system. So the longer one's ring finger relative to one's index finger, the faster one can run.
These athletes are 5,000 metres specialists. Professor Manning has never met them or seen them race, but if his theory is correct, he'll be able to tell us all about them.
What I should be able to do is look at the differences between the ring finger and the index finger, and on that basis rank these runners first, second, third, fourth, and so on. In theory, that should work.
In practice, we're providing Professor Manning with photocopies of the athletes' hands. And in return, he's risking his reputation by providing us with the results of a race that has yet to be run.
I'm looking at a kind of living fossil in the fingers, something which tells us about an event a long time ago in the development of this particular individual. Each of these cards has got a number on. The number's obscured, so don't take the front off. And the number is my prediction as to where you're going to end up at the end of the race. On your marks. There are other variables that I just have no knowledge of whatsoever. How many times do these runners train, for example? Are they feeling okay today? Have they had a row with their girlfriend? You know, I don't know these men, and all I've seen are their hands. You know, I'm quite nervous about this. I hope I'm right, and I'm willing to give it a go.
In most people, the difference between ring and index fingers is small. But the ring finger of one of our runners is a whopping 6 millimetres longer than his index finger. And Professor Manning is certain that he's found his winner.
That was absolutely magnificent. What I'd like you to do is to line up in your finishing order, and we'll work down the line and I'll rip your numbers off, starting with Russ.